In perhaps one of the most surprising turns in the 2025 Formula One driver market, a shocking rumor is seriously gathering pace. George Russell, the individual long regarded as the heir apparent to Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes seat, may be set to depart Brackley for none other than Aston Martin. But why would Mercedes even think about losing him? And how does Max Verstappen somehow become part of this high-drama F1 musical chairs game? Let's take a close look at what may be the most explosive driver shakeup in years. Script: George Russell, one-time touted as Mercedes' Messiah, now sits in the middle of an increasing rumor mill. His Silver Arrows deal ends at the conclusion of the 2025 season. And even though both Russell and Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff have made public statements stating they're on the same page as regards the future, the fact that there hasn't been a signed extension indicates something more profound is happening behind the scenes. Per several sources, Aston Martin is seeking Russell's signature for 2026 and beyond. On the surface, it might appear to be a sideways, or even downward, career move. But the reality is much more complicated. Aston Martin is no longer the team that it was a few seasons ago. With a factory alliance with Honda set to launch in 2026 and none other than Adrian Newey, widely regarded as the most successful F1 designer of all time, coming on board as managing technical partner, Aston Martin is set for a seismic change. From Aston Martin's point of view, the plan is absolute lunacy. Lance Stroll's seat is all but secure, thanks to team principal Lawrence Stroll's wallet. But Fernando Alonso, even though still hugely competitive, is already 44 years old. How much longer has he got in him? Particularly with radical regulation changes on the horizon in 2026. A move for George Russell would inject youth, proven race-winning quality, and serious gravitas into the team's future. And the drama doesn't end there. Aston Martin's aspirations might not be confined to Russell alone. Word has it that Toto Wolff has long been a fan of Max Verstappen even after George and Max's explosive on-track brawl during the Spanish Grand Prix. Wolff was surprisingly even-handed, even sympathetic, in his reaction to Verstappen's rough tactics. When questioned regarding Verstappen's infamous behavior at Barcelona, Wolff said, "If it was road rage, which I can't imagine, because it was too obvious, then it's not good." But perhaps he was playing doctor's games, looking to let George pass and immediately repass. These remarks are out of character for a team principal to make on behalf of his own driver. They imply something more, perhaps a change of emphasis. If Wolff is looking at Verstappen as a possible key player for Mercedes' future in 2026, then allowing Russell to try other waters may not be an act of carelessness. It may be strategic. But suppose Aston Martin is looking higher still? What if their long-term target is to sign George Russell and Max Verstappen for 2026? That may seem like fantasy, but bear this in mind. Earlier in 2025, rumors circulated of a record-breaking $300 million approach from Aston Martin to Verstappen. Though the team denied any formal offer, their statement was anything but definitive. It's normal for the media to speculate. We're committed to our current lineup, who are under contract for 2026 and beyond. As F1 people know, contracts tend not to mean much where huge amounts of money and the promise of things to come are at stake. Newey on board, Honda committed, and a new thrust of ambition at Aston Martin might just be putting all the pieces together for a championship bid. At the same time, George Russell has been seen in several high-profile meetings throughout the 2025 season. At the Australian Grand Prix, he was seen deep in conversation with McLaren CEO Zak Brown and team principal Andrea Stella. Even though Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were committed to long-term contracts, the optics were interesting. In China, Russell was photographed embracing Flavio Briatore, now a senior advisor to Alpine. But the most shocking sighting came during a private chat between Russell and Red Bull's Christian Horner. The Red Bull boss later remarked, "We'd be foolish to overlook someone of George's caliber." This is not simply wild guessing. Russell is obviously shopping his situation around. And Mercedes' hesitation to finalize a contract extension only adds to the buzz. To comprehend Aston Martin's vision grand, you need to comprehend Adrian Newey's role. Following decades with Red Bull, his switch to Aston Martin caused seismic waves across the paddock. His sighting at the Monaco Grand Prix, observing McLaren's dominant car, wasn't merely optics, it was symbolic. It was Newey announcing, "I'm watching. I'm planning." For Russell, it could be his once-in-a-lifetime chance. To be at the helm of a team in Newey's technical mastery, fueled by Honda, and set for a new frontier of regulation, could be his greatest, and perhaps only, hope of becoming a world champion. But let's increase the stakes. Picture a 2026 Aston Martin garage accommodating both George Russell and Max Verstappen. That combination would be on par with the most dramatic and explosive teammate pairs in F1 history, Consider Hamilton versus Rosberg or Senna versus Prost. Their on-track battles have already lacked heat, and their aggressive racing styles and opinionated personalities might create anything from internal fireworks to record-breaking speed. Team briefings might be like war rooms. Each race weekend would be a blockbuster movie. Aston Martin might ascend to greatness or blow up in spectacular fashion. But either scenario would provide fans with some of the most engaging racing storylines in the sport in decades. Where does that leave Mercedes, then? Surprisingly, they're said to be leading the way with 2026 engine work. Just like their early success at the beginning of the turbo-hybrid era in 2014, they're set to deliver a strong technical performance. Allowing Russell to drive only makes sense if they've already locked up, or think they can lock up, a replacement of similar or superior ability. Again, all indications are toward Verstappen. If Wolff can persuade the current champion to switch, Mercedes' new era would be launched on a roaring note, and Russell's exit would appear less loss and more transition plan. Regardless of whether Russell remains or departs, 2026 is proving to be one of the most anarchic and unpredictable seasons in recent F1 history. With revolutionary regulation overhauls, conventional wisdom dictates that anything can happen. Market leaders fall, dark horses emerge, and entire pecking orders are rewritten overnight. Two squads we are aware of will make huge changes: Red Bull and Aston Martin. Red Bull, even though it is presently dominant, has to deal with Honda's departure and Ford's arrival. Aston Martin, on the other hand, looks to be on the upswing, with Honda's return, Adrian Newey joining, and brash activity on the driver market. If Aston Martin gets even one of Russell or Verstappen, that will be seismic. But if they get both, we might see the beginning of a new golden age for Formula One, a troubled, high-octane period full of rivalries, rows, and classic moments. So what's your take? Should George Russell remain loyal to Mercedes or bet big on Aston Martin's ambitious future? And if Max Verstappen joins him, will it spark harmony or all-out warfare? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more breaking F1 insights, right here on Formula Today.